Hey guys, Scripted here with another video. A new vision. Mandalorian movie and Star Wars franchise future predicted by Giancarlo Esposito. Okay. First of all, just for the record, his character just went from super cool in season 1 to lame, as far as I'm concerned. And they turned season 3 of Mando into this trying to tie into Palpatine with clones. And a bunch of Giancarlo Esposito clones. It's just... oh, it's so terrible. You know, it's funny to me, how much they're having to try and, become apologists through their art with The Mandalorian now and with every other show for the sequel trilogy, which sucked. Stupid decisions in the sequel trilogy are, sort of controlling all of the stuff now, and everything they put out has to have some sort of sequel trilogy tie-in. It just ruins it. The sequel trilogy was the beginning of the end, and everything they're doing, yeah, I know the DEI stuff, and we hate white men, and all those things are contributing factors. Don't get me wrong. All the stupid comments and stupid social politics that they're inserting into everything are a problem, but ultimately, when all is said and done, everything points to the sequel trilogy. Everything is being made to try and make sense of the sequel trilogy. And it's garbage. It's all garbage. Even Dawn of the Jedi is going to be made, if they ever make it, to try and explain why Rey was so powerful. I'm telling you now, that's what the point of it is. They're not doing it just to do it. They're doing it to explain that this is why Rey is able to just do everything, because Dawn of the Jedi, this guy did this, and this is how it works, and the Force did it for her, and blah, blah, blah. Everything they're doing is to explain the stupidity of Rey being too powerful, way too quickly, Palpatine returning. Look at the Bad Batch, right? The entire show was made to try and explain why Palpatine came back. The entire show. Yeah, you had Omega and all this crap, but ultimately the point of the show being made was to explain Palpatine coming back. And you made a really garbage set of movies when you've got to make books and comics and endless stuff, TV shows, whatever, to try and explain the stupidity of the decisions made in those movies. All that to say, Mandalorian actor Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Moff Gideon on the fan-favorite TV show, shared his perspective on the future of Star Wars in light of Star Wars upcoming TV shows and new Star Wars movies. The Star Wars franchise has experienced a number of changes in recent years, in large part because the Skywalker saga ended with Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, leaving the future of Star Wars movies and TV shows in question. No, they're not questionable at all. We know, I've just said, everything is being done to try and justify the stupid plot of the sequels. While Star Wars has since released a number of live-action TV shows, The Mandalorian among them, the franchise's future seems as open-ended as ever. No, it doesn't. They're going to keep doing crap to try and explain the sequels. Ultimately, Ahsoka's going to do that too. 100%. And they're going to try and explain the First Order and all this crap and how there's so much empire around and everything. They're going to do that with Ahsoka. Moff Gideon actor Giancarlo Esposito weighed in on the question of where Star Wars will go from here, providing his insights as someone who was so integral to The Mandalorian. He explained, as in the MCU, Disney will figure out how to join all of these characters into one really great movie or TV show. That's my sense of where it will go. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have a new mission, continuing on with a Mandalorian movie. My sense is that it's all going to converge at one point or another, and we're going to have another set of trilogy or more of films. Now, again, though, all of that is going to be to try and explain. Now, this is my prediction, okay, guys? This is what's going to happen. I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. It's so predicted. It's so easy to predict. I'm sure many of you could predict this as well. It's not hard. So, the Rey Jedi Order movie and the Dawn of the Jedi movie are going to be there to try and explain why Rey is so bloody powerful for no reason, okay? And then this series of movies, if they ever come out, or this movie and subsequent projects, he's right. They're going to have all these people converge together, but they are all going to be there to explain how there's this gigantic First Order out of nowhere. That's what these are good. That is what it is for. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie is, sure, it's a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and for people that love the Mandalorian and Grogu, they're going to go to watch it and whatever. For them, it'll be about Mandalorian and Grogu. But ultimately, it is all leading to this idea of there's this giant First Order out of nowhere, and we have to explain this now. Because we didn't bother to in the movies. Because we were stupid and lazy and rushed and wanted to make a bunch of money. Even in the leaked Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, which I did a video on, you see a Imperial outpost. And there's officers, there's snowtroopers, there's all types of guys. It looks like it's Hoth, probably isn't, but whatever. There's a whole bunch of guys. And so you already know that the movie's going to try and tie in and explain this idea that there was all these Imperials all over the place. Again, what does that mean? That means that everything that the original trilogy did is bubkiss. They didn't stop the Empire. They didn't kill Palpatine. They didn't do anything. Imagine how crazy that is. That the people at Disney and Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm decided that the best course of action was to make the entire original trilogy's plotline totally meaningless. Totally meaningless. And they've even allowed, and this is why it's like, oh, Filoni and Favreau are going to save everybody. No, they're part of it. Even to the point where they went and ruined the Anakin virgins, right, with the Acolyte. So he's not the only one that's ever happened with. And not only is he not the only one, I could live with 10,000 years in the past, there was another one or whatever. Literally less than 100 years, probably like 80 years before him, there was one. And these witches used it. So they're destroying the prequels. So their whole strategy with everything that they're doing, and I don't know if they're so stupid they didn't realize that's what they were doing. Maybe they're just dumb. Or they knew it and did it anyway, which is actually even worse. I'd prefer them just be stupid. Which is even worse, that they actually did it on purpose. They knowingly destroyed the entire story that George Lucas created, made it meaningless. What does Vader even matter anymore? What does it matter? Why? Because Kylo had some weird culty obsession with his mask? I'm supposed to be like, so Vader's story is completely pointless and didn't actually do anything and didn't kill Palpatine, and it was completely meaningless, but I feel good about his character because Kylo pretended to be him. That's literally what this is, guys. That's what they're doing. It's insanity. So if you want to go and watch Mandalorian and Grogu because you like their characters, whatever, fine, do it. All power to you. But everything they're doing in that movie is going to be to try to explain how stupid it is that Luke and Han and Lando and Leia and everybody else involved with the rebellion actually completely failed, and there was this massive other thing over here called the First Order always in the works. So everything they did was completely pointless and dumb, according to Disney canon. Now, I don't put any of this crap in my canon. To me, it's all just a joke. But make no mistake, that's what they're doing. And so having them all converge in an MCU style, endgame style thing, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they do that? I mean, they kind of have to, right? So you're gonna have CGI Luke and Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and maybe Boba Fett, but probably not. And all these people converge together at some point. Maybe not in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but that's their vision. Now, I don't know that that's going to come to fruition because people like me and a lot of other people are waking up to the fact that everything they did destroyed George Lucas's original 6 movies. His story, they literally set out with a vision to destroy what he did. So by the time this movie comes out, I don't think it's going to do that well. I really don't. I think it'll make some money. It'll certainly do better than these TV shows and stuff are doing because it is the Mandalorian and Grogu. But a lot of the kids that thought Grogu was cute and were all into it are going to be way older by the time this comes out. The whole Grogu cutesy with the girls and stuff is fading. It's over. They've moved on to the next cutesy thing. So my hope is that this movie bombs. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it absolutely bombs, and Disney is forced to sell this IP. Sell Lucasfilm. Sell it to somebody else who's going to just stand up on a podium and say that everything Disney did is being wiped out canonically, and we're going to start again and do a new sequel trilogy that's actually good. Which wasn't that hard to do. It wasn't that hard to do. And you could have had the First Order, but you have to explain it. It has to make sense. It can't just be there. We're not all retards that watch Star Wars. We need explanations to things. His assessment seems to be exactly what the direction of the franchise is taking, particularly with so many projects currently set during the New Republic era. Esposito's perspective on Star Wars' future is well supported by recent moves the franchise has made, and it makes sense for Esposito to be one of the best members of the Star Wars franchise to offer that insight. The Mandalorian is so much more than just one of Star Wars' best TV shows, although it is certainly also that. At present, The Mandalorian seems to be foundational to the future of Star Wars. Many shows and movies, including The Mandalorian and Grogu, are set during the New Republic timeline, and The Mandalorian laid the groundwork for this future. Okay, as Esposito stated, it seems Star Wars is moving toward a culminating show or movie that will tie together The Mandalorian and Grogu, Ahsoka Season 2, and perhaps even Skeleton Crew, the next TV show set during the New Republic era. Esposito was also right that this will likely take a page out of the MCU's book, which successfully completed an Infinity Saga with Infinity War and Endgame and moved on to the Multiverse Saga. As yet another major Disney franchise, it makes sense for Star Wars to follow suit. So you want Star Wars to have a multiverse? They're killing this IP, folks. They're killing it. If this is the direction they go, it's over. It's literally over. See, in the MCU, it works because there always was a multiverse, right? You had Spider-Man, you had Amazing Spider-Man, you had the Web of Spider-Man, you had this, you had already a whole pile of different universes, and that was accepted. Star Wars has been around for a long, long time. You can't just all of a sudden now be like, no, we're going to have multiverses now. No, that it's over if they do that. Well, it's over anyway. There's been plenty of negativity in the Star Wars franchise of late, the Acolyte's cancellation in particular, but I remain hopeful about Star Wars' future. Rey's movie, which is, why are you hopeful about that? It's not even happening. Rumored to be titled The New Jedi Order will kick off a brand new era of the Star Wars timeline and is currently undefined, meaning the possibilities are endless and boring because she's too powerful. It's useless. I also agree with Esposito that Star Wars is very intentionally building toward a show or movie that brings together many New Republic stories. As a Star Wars and MCU fan, I find that to be an exciting prospect. This plan will likely be rolled out sooner than later, not only because Lucasfilm already confirmed Mandalorian and Grogu in May 2026, but also because the franchise has booked release dates in December 26 and 27, while those projects aren't yet identified. Star Wars Celebration 2025 is just around the corner, which would be the perfect time for Star Wars to unveil this overarching plan. I truly believe Esposito hit the nail on the head with these insights, which has me excited about the future of The Mandalorian. Okay, so this person's not wrong. The entire franchise, at least from their perspective, from Filoni, Favreau, Kennedy, all these idiots, the franchise is banking on The Mandalorian and Grogu. That's what they're going to hang their hat on. Everything else has failed. Everything else has been poorly accepted by the fans. Make no mistake, Ahsoka Season 2 is not going to do as well as Ahsoka Season 1. It's not. Because Ahsoka Season 1 ended so terribly and was so poorly done that there's going to be a lot less people watching Season 2. Mark my words. It's not going to do well. But the problem with banking on The Mandalorian and Grogu is that it's also on a downward trend. Season 3 was not well received either. People didn't like what they did. They thought it was convoluted. It was all over the place. And The Mandalorian Din Djarin became a secondary or even tertiary character in his own show. Just like they did to Boba Fett by making him the main guy in Boba Fett. These people have no clue what they're doing. And everything in Star Wars right now is trending down. So they're going to try their darndest to have the Mandalorian and Grogu save this franchise. But it is also on a downward trend. So this is not going to bode well for them. I feel like, and then you look at Outlaws. Outlaws only sold 1 million copies in the first month. 1 million, that's it. Star Wars game, 1 million, that's it. It's done. This IP is on a downward spiral, and I don't think you can bring it back. I don't know how you bring it back. The only way, and I've said this multiple times, if you guys follow me, you know this, you have to just end it. You have to get rid of everything you've done since The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was the beginning of the end. When you made the main character have no struggles, be absolutely beyond words powerful, doing Jedi mind tricks without even knowing what they are, doing all these things, beating the main villain. Why would you do that? How stupid are you? Think of how much better The Force Awakens would have been if two things would have happened. Think of the foundation that this franchise would have been on when Disney took over if two things would have happened. Two things. Just two. Two small things. Rey doesn't use a Jedi mind trick to get out of the chair. She finds another way. Maybe because she's, been a scavenger her whole life and she knows about parts and this and that. She finds a way to break free without using a Jedi mind trick. Okay? And then she loses to Kylo on Starkiller Base. She loses. The ground breaks apart. That's what saves her life, right? And he doesn't really want to kill her because he wants her to join him. But just imagine if those two things happen. She doesn't use a Jedi mind trick and she loses to Kylo. Right then and there, we would have had a character that had challenges, would have been interesting going forward, would have been more believable, but they didn't do that. They made these awful decisions because Kathleen Kennedy, with her brunette self-insert that she always does, had to make her the most powerful Jedi ever. With no training, no nothing. What did Luke train her to do, guys? What did he train her to do in The Last Jedi? She already knew how to do everything. What was he training her for? What did he train her to do? Please tell me. Even her stupid scenes where she's practicing with her lightsaber. Practicing for what? She just defeated Kylo. She defeated the main villain of the film. Day 1 or day 3 of knowing what the Force even was. So those two decisions in The Force Awakens set a foundation of utter and complete failure for this franchise. And the snowball is rolling down the hill. And again, if they're banking on Mando and Grogu to save them, they're banking on something that's already on a downward trajectory. Like I said, people were not happy with season 3. People found it very stupid, very convoluted, and it was just being used to explain Palpatine being back in The Rise of Skywalker. So all I have to say, guys, this franchise is done. It's done. There's nowhere for them to go. They've screwed it up so bad. And you're going to watch now as every single thing, just like The Acolyte, every single thing that comes out, just like Outlaws, every single thing that comes out is going to have lower ratings and lower viewership than what came before. So what was the last movie that came out? Was it Rise of Skywalker? I'm trying to remember. I think so. Mandalorian and Grogu's going to make less money than The Rise of Skywalker made. So what did Rise of Skywalker, like 1.2 billion or something? This will make 800 million. Ahsoka Season 2 will do less than Ahsoka Season 1. Might even do as low as The Acolyte. But each subsequent project now is going to do worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. We're literally watching the death throes of this franchise. It's going to take probably another 5 or 10 years before Disney accepts the fact that it's over. But it is definitely over. And at this point, they're just pumping money into a dying brand that in 10 years will not exist anymore. And we will look back 20 years from now, and we will say, look what they did to this beloved IP. What were they thinking? Why did they do this to Star Wars? That's what we're looking at. And I will come back to this video at that time and I'll say, guys, it was pretty obvious. It doesn't make me smart because I knew this was going to happen. It's pretty stinking obvious. And I think you guys, let me know in the comment section. I'm sure you guys would say the same thing. And it's not like this is rocket science. This is pretty simple to figure out. So let me know in the comment section what you think. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Always helps the channel. Feel free to check out anything else on my channel. Have yourselves a really good day.